Greetings from Geneva, where we have just concluded the 51st session of the United Nations Human Rights Council. During each session, UN member states and members of civil society have the ability to raise their voices and participate in the discussion. That setting reminds us each of the universality of human rights, which all nations enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights decades ago. Human rights are not subject to cultural differences, national circumstances, coercion, or political conditions. Despite our shared agreement of these principles, human rights violations and abuses continue around the world. In fact, this session of the HRC featured the highest number of resolutions in the history of the Council, reflecting the urgent need worldwide for increased action on the protection and promotion of human rights. With so much action taken over the last month, I'd like to highlight a few significant items that illustrate the important work of the Human Rights Council. I'd first like to discuss the ongoing human rights situation in Xinjiang, China. In late August, the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights published an independent assessment of the human rights situation in Xinjiang. The evidence was compiled over a 3-year period and relied extensively on China's own records and eyewitness testimonies. It corroborates concerns raised by special procedures, independent media, academic researchers, and most importantly, by Uyghurs themselves. We were deeply disappointed that by a narrow margin, the Council was unable to agree to hold a discussion about the serious human rights concerns related to Xinjiang. No country has a perfect human rights record, and no country, no matter how powerful, should be exempt from Council scrutiny, including my own country, the United States. We will continue to work closely with our partners to seek justice and accountability for victims of human rights abuses and violations, including the Uyghurs in Xinjiang. Next, I'd like to turn to Putin's ongoing war of aggression in Ukraine. The Council received its first update from the Ukraine Commission of Inquiry, or COI, which concluded, based on the evidence, that war crimes have been committed in Ukraine. The U.S. and other delegations urged the commissioners to continue examining the growing evidence of Russia's filtration operations, forced deportations, and disappearances. The evidence gathered by this independent body will be critical to future accountability. The United States joined 2 very important joint statements this session. First, we were proud to join 44 countries to issue a joint statement condemning anti-Semitism. Racism, anti-Semitism, and other forms of intolerance and hatred pose a constant and serious challenge to our open and free societies that value human rights and the dignity of every person. Second, we joined the United Arab Emirates, Israel, and Bahrain to highlight how digital technology can be an important tool in achieving peace and promoting coexistence between cultures and societies. Israel led their first resolution at the Council this session. We proudly co-sponsored the resolution on cyberbullying, which passed by consensus, and we welcome Israel's continued and increased engagement with the Council. This session of the Council included a particular focus on Indigenous rights. As part of our commitment to advancing human rights and equity, both at home and globally, the United States recognizes the importance of working with Indigenous communities to eliminate obstacles to their full enjoyment of human rights. We recognize that Indigenous peoples' knowledge is needed to address the current environmental crises, including climate change and the loss of biodiversity. I'd like to highlight how the Council delivered on strengthening accountability in some regions of concern. We extended mandates in Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, Ethiopia, Syria, and Venezuela. As Putin's war in Ukraine rages on, the people of Russia are facing increased violations of their human rights, especially those who dare to speak out against this unprovoked war of aggression. We were proud to co-sponsor a resolution led by the EU to call for a special rapporteur to evaluate the situation inside Russia. We are grateful that that resolution passed today. I'd like to conclude by honoring human rights defenders worldwide and issuing a call to action. My greatest honor as the U.S. Ambassador to the UN Human Rights Council is the opportunity to meet with courageous human rights defenders who devote their lives to serving others. Their important contributions to society are rarely appreciated, and they often face threats of violence and intimidation. When the task before us seems bleak, I derive my inspiration from these brave men and women who, in the face of extreme danger, continue their work to better their societies. Human rights defenders, civil society organizations, faith groups, and independent media play an essential role in the protection and promotion of human rights. And so do you. No matter who you are, you can help your country, and by extension our global community, to enjoy full human rights and fundamental freedoms. We need your help. I urge you to learn more about these important issues, join a civil society group, and make your voice heard. As we prepare for the 52nd session of the Human Rights Council in March, I hope to hear from many of you about your ideas for how the international community can come together to advance human rights for all people.